Dressmakers, I'm Annie here at Minerva, and today I've got some really gorgeous Deadstock fabrics to share with you. So if you're not familiar with Deadstock fabrics, these are basically just fabrics that are left over from designers and high street fashion stores when they've created their clothing collections. If they've kind of ordered a bit too much fabric, rather than the fabrics going into landfill, they are made available for fabric companies like us to purchase them and pass them along to home sewers, and you get to get your hands on some really unique and high quality fabrics at some great value prices. So party season is fast approaching, dare I say the word Christmas, New Year. It's coming that time of year where we're all going to be starting to get invites to parties, drinks, meals out, and we are going to want some lovely new party ready garments to wear to these events. So today I've got some gorgeous party and fancy Deadstock fabrics to share with you. So there's lots of sequins, sparkle and glitter. So they're all perfect for making some really show-stopping makes for all your festive events. And to kind of get you inspired, I've got some gorgeous patterns to pair up with them all as well. So the first fabric I've got to show you is this gorgeous glitter textured stretch knit fabric. So it's a lovely sort of medium weight fabric. It's 56 inches wide, so a nice wide fabric. You can get some quite big pattern pieces on there. It's lovely. It's got a lovely sort of stretch. It's really drapey. And it's got this gorgeous kind of classic black with this sort of like diamond geometric pattern on it that's made out of this lovely sort of silver glitter. And it's also got some, you probably can't see it very well, but it's got some kind of like little black sort of sequiny beads woven onto it as well, which gives it this lovely texture. So I think this fabric would be perfect for kind of party ready tops. So I picked out Simplicity 9451, which is this lovely knit top pattern. You've got 4 views to try, so there's kind of different sleeve styles, and there's a sleeveless option as well. And it's just a really kind of simple, easy to sew top pattern. But it's got this really interesting kind of asymmetric, gathered, ruched effect going across the body. And I think this pattern paired with this lovely kind of glittery fabric, I think is perfect for kind of something maybe a bit more of a casual event, kind of a jeans and a nice top kind of vibe. So maybe a more relaxed meal or drinks, but you just want to bring that kind of party season, festive vibe to your outfit. I think this would be lovely. Now, I promised some sequins, so the next couple of fabrics that I'm going to show you are some really gorgeous sequin fabrics. The first one I've got is this sequin velvet stretch knit fabric, and it's these gorgeous kind of like blue and white sequins on this lovely black velvet base cloth. Now it's not kind of fully covered in the sequins. The sequins are kind of done in a sort of pattern, which I think gives it this almost kind of like a snake skin kind of effect. Really lovely, gorgeous effect on the fabric. It's quite weighty because of the sequins. It's not too weighty, it's like a medium weight fabric, and it's still got some lovely drape to it, which I think the weight kind of helps with the drape there. This is 52 inches wide, so it's a little bit narrower than the last one I showed you, but still plenty wide enough for some nice big pattern pieces. So you've got the sequins on the sort of right side of the fabric. Then on the back, it's just this lovely sort of the back side of the velvet. So it's nice and smooth on the back, so it shouldn't need any sort of lining to it. And it's also great for kind of any patterns where you might see the sort of wrong side of the fabric, because you just have this sort of plain black wrong side. So yeah, lovely and soft. You can actually sort of, these are the kind of sequins where you can sort of flip them, so you can sort of have them either way. So it's a really fun fabric to stroke actually. So really, really gorgeous fabric. And I think with something like this, you want something to kind of show off the drape, show off the movement. As you can see, it really captures the light. Now I mentioned this was a stretch knit fabric, but it does actually, it stretches that way, but it doesn't stretch in both directions. So probably you don't want a pattern that's too fitted, that's too reliant on the stretch. So just bear that in mind, that it only stretches in one direction. So with that in mind, what I've picked out is Simplicity 1108, which is this gorgeous kind of robe cardigan pattern. It's suitable for wovens or for knits, so it's a really versatile pattern to have in your stash. And it's great for kind of knit fabrics where there maybe isn't as much stretch, or it only stretches in one direction, because it's a kind of loose fitting style. You've got 4 views to try, so there's kind of different lengths. There's some that have a straight hem, there's some that are more of a sort of cocoon kind of shape. And I think this would be really lovely in this sort of dramatic sequin fabric, just as a kind of something to throw on to dress up an outfit, or throw on over kind of dresses, tops, again for parties, for meals out, just to kind of add that lovely sort of dramatic, festive sparkle to your outfit. And yeah, this is a really quick, easy pattern to make, again, so perfect for all your kind of party season needs. So the next fabric I've got is another kind of sequins on velvet fabric. This is in this beautiful, we're calling it a mulberry colour, but it's kind of like this beautiful sort of reddy pink, almost like a wine colour, which is just such a perfect colour for sort of autumn, winter, festive season, really giving kind of mulled wine sort of vibes there. So it's really sort of soft and smooth to touch. Even on the sequin side, it feels quite soft actually. And then the sort of wrong side of the fabric, again, it's just the wrong side of the velvet sort of base cloth. So it's lovely and soft and smooth on the wrong side, completely opaque, so you don't need to bother with a lining or anything for this one. This one is also 56 inches wide. Again, a medium weight, got lots of lovely drape to it. This is a stretch knit as well, but similar to the last one, it only stretches in the one direction, so bear that in mind when you're kind of picking your patterns. Again, don't choose something that's relying on the stretch of the fabric too much, because it only stretches one way, but it is a little bit stretchier than the last one. So you've got quite a bit of stretch in the one direction, but then in the other direction you don't have any stretch. But yeah, just a gorgeous fabric. Again, just look at it catching the light there, absolutely beautiful. So I think this would be a really lovely fabric for kind of like a party skirt or trousers. I think the last couple of years we've been seeing sort of sequin trousers, sequin skirts in the shops around sort of party season, Christmas time. So I've picked out the Style Arc Northcote skirt, and this is a really fabulous, it's designed for knit fabrics, but it is kind of loose fitting, so you'll get away with not having too much stretch there. And you've got not too many seam lines, which when you're working with sequin fabrics is again something to consider, because you are going to need to sort of cut the sequins out in your seam allowances to make it a bit easier to sew. So this is going to be a really fabulous option for sort of a nice, not too many seam lines, nice and simple, will really show off this sequin fabric just beautifully. And just imagine, you know, swishing into your Christmas party in this gorgeous sequin skirt. I think that would be just gorgeous. Now, the next sequin fabric I've got is really special. Just look at that, catching the light. Absolutely beautiful sequin fabric. So this is a sequin mesh, and it's got this kind of like, they're actually sort of multicoloured or different colour sequins that give it this kind of almost sort of gradient, kind of iridescent effect to the fabric, which is just so special, so beautiful. This is a medium weight fabric as well. It's lovely and drapey. This one is 51 inches wide, so a little bit narrower, but still plenty of width to play with. And this one stretches in both directions, so you've got quite a bit of stretch that way, and you have got some stretch in the length as well. Now, the sequins do provide quite good coverage on this fabric, even though it's on a mesh, so it is sort of opaque. But because it's a mesh, obviously the backside of the fabric, you've got you can sort of feel all the threads where the sequins have been attached to the mesh fabric, so it is a little bit textured on the sort of wrong side of the fabric. So I would recommend lining this one, in particular if you're sort of sensitive to sort of textures, if you've got kind of sensory issues, sensitive skin, anything like that. You might find it a bit more comfortable to line this fabric. But because it stretches in both directions and it's really quite stretchy, this would be a great choice for sort of more fitted garments, so fitted dresses, jumpsuits. But I think you'd still want a little bit of sort of something with a little bit of drape, maybe sort of a dress with a cowl neckline, jumpsuits with sort of wide legs, just so you can get that kind of swish factor when you're moving and really get that sequin fabric catching the light like that. It's just beautiful. So what I've picked out for this pattern is a perfect party dress pattern. It's McCall's 8142. And this is a perfect dress for party season. I've actually made this pattern myself, not in sequins, but I've made it for a party, and it was just perfect. It's a lined pattern, so it's already lined. The instructions are in there for lining the pattern, so you don't have to worry about that. You can get your lining in nice and easy. You don't have to think about trying to draft pattern pieces or whatever, work out your fabric measurements for lining the dress, because it's all included in the pattern. You've got 3 views to try, so you've got this kind of like fitted long sleeve style, you've got a more drapey sleeveless style, and then you've got this gorgeous sort of one-shouldered asymmetric dress with a little split leg. And the split leg is lovely because it's not too high, it just comes to just the right length, and you've got that lovely sort of swish factor, which I think pairing with this sequin fabric would just be so perfect. Definitely a sort of showstopper Christmas party, New Year's Eve party outfit. So the last of the sequin fabrics now, and this is actually a little bit more of a subtle sequin fabric, because the sequins are actually sort of just black sequins on a sort of black base cloth, so you can't actually really see that the sequins are on there, but it just gives it this gorgeous kind of bit more sort of catching the light. This is a textured stretch knit, so got a lovely bit of stretch in the one direction. There is a little tiny bit of stretch in the other direction, but I'd say that's more of a comfort stretch. So again, just be aware that the main amount of stretch is only in the one direction on this fabric. It's lovely and drapey. It feels really soft. Again, because the sequins are kind of subtle on it and they're not covering the fabric, it's lovely and soft to touch on the right side and also on the back side. So this is on a sort of like textured knit base, so the wrong side of the fabric is just lovely and smooth, so it won't need any lining on that one. So this is 56 inches wide, so nice and wide. You can get some nice big pattern pieces on here. There's elastane included in the fabric, so blended in with the fibres is a bit of elastane, so you've got good stretch recovery on this fabric, so it's not going to stretch out of shape and kind of end up in a sort of shapeless garment. It's going to bounce back a bit. Now, because this is sort of like a lovely classic black and silver pattern, and it's this lovely soft stretch knit fabric, I've picked out the Minerva Exclusive Patterns Amber Culottes for this fabric. So I think this would be really great for kind of dressing up a more casual outfit. You've got the lovely swish, so it can sort of catch the light beautifully. They're a beginner friendly pattern. They're really easy to make, really quick to make. You can make them as culottes, or they're quite easy to just hack or lengthen into full length wide leg trousers, which are perfect for the sort of party season. You know, pair them with a nice top, pair of heels, and they would look super fabulous. And the best thing about this pattern is they've got a really nice elastic waistband. So if you're going out for sort of like a Christmas meal, Christmas drinks or anything like that, super comfy elastic waistband. Just, you know, if you've overindulged a little bit too much at your Christmas meal, you'll still be nice and comfy. So next up, I've got some lovely woven fabrics for you. So I'm moving away from sequins, but we're still keeping that gorgeous, sparkly party vibe. So I've got this holographic Lurex lame fabric. So this is a lovely smooth fabric. It's got a very slight texture to it from the sort of Lurex fibres in there. But it's got this gorgeous sort of holographic effect. It just catches the light beautifully. And this is in this gorgeous sort of cerise pink colour. So this is a medium weight again. It's got a little bit of drape to it, but it's got tiny little bit of structure, as you can see if I just sort of drop it on the table a bit like that. So it kind of will hold its shape a little bit if you want something that's going to hold its shape a bit more. This is 58 inches wide. I'll say that again because it came out weirdly. This is 58 inches wide, so really good wide fabric, great for doing like big wide pattern pieces on there. So I think this fabric would be perfect for kind of dresses, skirts. You could do some tops with it, but just bear in mind that it has got that kind of slight bit of structure to it. It's not super drapey, so it is going to hold the shape of the garment a bit more. Now I actually think this would be a perfect fabric for kind of soft, light jackets, or even kind of vests, waistcoats are really having a bit of a moment, which is why I've picked out the Vicky So's Liliana vest. It's just this classic kind of waistcoat pattern. It's got all the kind of details you'd expect from a waistcoat. So it's got welt pockets, it's got this sort of like button front, it's got the adjustable kind of D-ring strap on the back so you can kind of make it a bit more fitted, make it tighter. And yeah, I think this would be fabulous. You can wear them as a top, or you could wear it over top of kind of blouses, dresses, to kind of add an extra layer, add a little subtle hint of sparkle to your outfit, just to give it that kind of festive party wear vibe. Now, if kind of sequins and glitter isn't really your vibe and you're wanting something a little bit plainer, a little bit more subtle, or if you're even after something a bit plainer to pair with some of the more show-stoppy sequin fabrics, then this gorgeous stretch woven satin is just absolutely perfect. It's in this beautiful ruby red colour, so perfect for the Christmas season. It feels really luxurious, really soft and smooth. And it's a satin, so it's got this kind of sort of satin shimmer finish, but it is more of a matte. So really sort of kind of classy, luxurious matte with a slight bit of shimmer that just looks beautiful in the light. Now, the really interesting thing about this fabric is it's a stretch woven. So it's woven, it's not a knit fabric, but you get quite a good amount of stretch in that. So I think you could make some really lovely fitted styles where you've just got that nice bit of, I wouldn't even call that a comfort stretch. It's quite a bit of stretch in that. But it only stretches the one way, so the other way there's no stretch. But yeah, quite a big amount of stretch in that fabric. So perfect for fitted sort of tops, trousers, fitted skirts, like pencil skirts or something like that. This is a light to medium weight, super soft and smooth. So the wrong side of the fabric is really lovely and soft as well. So you won't need any sort of lining in it. And this is a whopping 70 inches wide. So great for anything if you've got some really wide pattern pieces, or just, you're getting a lot of sort of fabric for your money there. 70 inches wide is just fantastic. Lovely and stretchy. Now, I think for a sort of satin fabric like this, you can't go wrong with a classic bias cut garment. So I've picked out the Tessuti Evie bias skirt. This is a firm favourite in the sewing community. It's just a classic bias cut skirt. It's nice and simple to make, so there's not too many sort of details in the pattern. So when you sort of cut stuff on the bias, it just adds this lovely sort of effect to the garments, gives them a lovely little bit of extra drape. So yeah, that pattern is perfect for kind of introduction to bias cut garments. I've also got some alternative patterns. They're a little bit more size inclusive than the Tessuti one. So the Style Arc bias cut Genoa skirt. So again, really similar to the Tessuti one. Nice and simple. Just again, a good introduction to working on the bias. Style Arc patterns are a little bit more size inclusive, but the instructions are a bit more sort of minimal than you might get from other indie patterns. So if you're confident with sewing and you're just looking for an introduction to working on the bias, the Style Arc pattern might be better. If you prefer sort of having more, a little bit more information in your instructions, then you might prefer the Tessuti bias cut skirt. And then, of course, I've also got the Style Arc Kingsley bias cut dress and cami. So if you're not after a skirt, if you're after more of a dress or a camisole top, then again, this pattern is a fabulous option for bias cut garments. So moving back to some knit fabrics now, the next two I've got are sort of a bit more of a subtle nod to party wear and sort of party season. So I think these fabrics would be great for more kind of casual day wear outfits. The first one I've got is this textured stretch knit fabric. It's this lovely sort of pale baby pink colour. And it's got this silver sort of glittery, almost like a crackle effect on the fabric. It's lovely and soft, it's ever so slightly textured, but it still feels really nice against the skin. And then the wrong side of the fabric is just lovely and smooth, lovely pale pink colour again, so great for any garments, again, where you might show the wrong side of the fabric. Sort of in a hem, if you've got like a high-low hem or anything like that, then it's just a lovely pale pink colour on the wrong side. It's lovely and soft, it's lovely and drapey, it's nice and stretchy in both directions. Again, when you stretch it out quite a lot, it goes a little bit see-through, so if you're making something very, very fitted, then you may wish to line it, but I think for most garments you'd be absolutely fine not lining it at all. It's generally nice and opaque, so you can't see through it. So like I say, I think this would be good for kind of more casual day wear, subtler nods to sort of party season, which is why I've picked out McCall's 7975. Which is this lovely simple top pattern. You've got the option of short sleeves, basic long sleeves, or long sleeves with kind of like a wider cuff, so they're a bit more drapey. And the really lovely kind of interesting thing about this pattern is it's got this kind of twist front to the one side, so it gives it a kind of asymmetric look, kind of nice twist to the garment. So yeah, nice for sort of day wear, sort of wearing to work, or sort of more casual day drinks, lunchtime meals, things like that. And you could sort of have that nice sort of glittery little bit of a nod to the party season. Now, the next fabric I've got is this gorgeous Lurex sweater knit fabric. And it's got this, I'm not sure if you can see it too well on the camera, but it's got this lovely kind of floral design. And the Lurex threads just add a nice subtle bit of sparkle to it. It's a medium weight and it's 55 inches wide. It's lovely and drapey. It's quite slinky, as you might be able to tell because it keeps slipping off my table. So nice and slinky, nice and soft, really, really stretchy. So good for kind of stretches in both directions, but there's definitely a bit more stretch in the width there. So it's lovely and soft, lovely and drapey, and I think with this neutral colour but the pretty sort of floral design and the kind of subtle lurex threads, I think this would be great again for kind of day wear, for just adding a little bit of subtle sparkle to your outfits. And I think something like this, you don't even need to save it for party season. You could wear this kind of any time of year and just add a lovely little bit of sparkle to your outfit, because sparkle is for all year round. And I think this would make a really lovely kind of drapey top or cardigan. So I picked out the Anne's cardigan from the Sewing Workshop, which is this gorgeous kind of sort of quite simple cardigan, but it's got a kind of waterfall front, which is really going to show off the lovely drape of this fabric. You do actually get a tank top included in this pattern as well. But yeah, I think this would be a really lovely kind of waterfall front cardigan, perfect for layering over your kind of dresses, tops, perfect for day wear, just to add a little bit of an extra layer and a bit of sparkle. And now finally, we could hardly talk party fabrics without talking about some beautiful glittery lace fabrics. So this is a lurex embroidered lace. So it's a gorgeous lace fabric, embroidered with this sort of like really lovely, kind of like a floral design. There's some lurex threads in there to add some sparkle. And this comes in two colours. So I've got the orchid colourway here, and then on the mannequin behind me is the cobalt colourway. So two lovely colours to choose from. This is a sort of light to medium weight fabric. It's 51 inches wide, and obviously, as you can see, it is sheer. So you are definitely going to want to either line this or kind of put it over the top of something, you know, wear something underneath. Now, it's got this lovely kind of sparkle effect from the lurex. So it's got this kind of scalloped sort of edge to the fabric already. So that is definitely something that you may want to utilise when you're kind of cutting out your pattern pieces, that you may be able to avoid hemming there if you kind of use that. But the fabric doesn't really fray anyway, so it's not going to be too much, it's not going to be fraying too much when you're trying to sew it. So this is ideal for kind of sheer overlays to skirts or dresses. So kind of if you made a skirt and that, or a dress, and then you wanted to kind of add a sheer layer over the top. It's also great for kind of doing sheer sleeves or sheer sort of cut out panels in tops and dresses. Or you could just fully embrace the kind of sheerness of the fabric and make sort of like a cover up or a robe, little like bolero jackets, shawls, things like that. Now, a really great example of something you can do with this fabric. A member of our community, Jerry in Stitches, made the Style Art Hope dress out of a embroidered lace fabric. And then she's just worn like a sort of top and trousers underneath. And it just has this really gorgeous effect. But you can do this with kind of any of your favourite dress patterns. I would say just make sure that it's a kind of looser fitting style, so you've got room to wear something underneath. The fabric is, again, it's not super drapey, it's got a little bit of structure. So it will kind of hold the shape of a pattern. So again, if you chose something like the Hope dress that's got these quite big sleeves, kind of a loose fitting skirt, it would really show off that shape of that garment. But yeah, kind of if you choose sort of your favourite looser fitting tops, looser fitting dress patterns, You can make it out of a lace fabric and then just wear it over the top of sort of a plain camisole top, a plain pair of jeans, something like that, just to really show off that fabric, and you get a really interesting outfit there. So that's all of our gorgeous new Deadstock party fabrics. These are all available on site now at Minerva. So perfect for ordering now, getting ready for Christmas, New Year's, just general party season. Now, if you are a member of our craft club, then you will save 10% off all of these fabrics and everything else on site. If you're not a member of the craft club yet, it's £20 a year to join, and it gives you 10% off everything on site. That's on top of any sort of sales or special offers that we're running. So if you're a regular Minerva customer, it's definitely worth taking a look at the craft club. Now, if you have been making anything or if you're planning anything for the party season, we would love to see it. So you can create a free account on minerva.com and you can start sharing your makes, your sewing plans with our lovely, friendly community. And then finally, what was your favourite party fabric that I showed you today? What was your favourite pattern? Do you have any plans for the party season? Let us know in the comments. We would love to hear all of your party make plans. Bye for now.